What's up guys, I'm Vocal Strike and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution. Last time we have defeated Jack in the Friendship Cup and became champion. This time we are going to finally put a stop to Roger in a vicious cycle. His plans thwarted, Roger attempted to escape through a dimensional transporter. You know you've been beaten, Roger. A scared little puppy dog scurrying back to Duel Academy. This is not a retreat, Missy. This is a minor setback, but I will return. I don't think so, Roger. You won't have a chance to come back because you're never leaving here. Why do you think Duel Academy sent me here? Because I alone was capable of conquering this dimension, just as I will conquer you. Roger is using the Ancient Gear archetype. Big shocker. But Declan is using the Double D and Triple D archetype, which is a modern different dimension archetype. Now, this is actually kind of something I do need to clarify. There are actually two different dimension cards. And that is the different dimension cards that have like the periods in their name. So like, you know, D period as like an initial. Those are the original different dimension archetype, where it's like different dimension sprite, different dimension beast, different dimension warrior, etc. But then there are these different dimension cards that you see here. We have D/D and D/D/D. These are completely different different dimension archetype. In the anime, they are known as Double D, Triple D, and Quadruple D respectively. So that's what I will be calling them to help differentiate them. So if I say different dimension, I am talking about the original different dimension cards that have the periods in their names. If I say Double D, Triple D, or Quadruple D, I am talking about these cards that you see right here. That said, any card effects that affect a different dimension monster with the slashes in their name, like Double D Night Howl, where it says when this card is normal summon, you can target one Double D monster in your graveyard and special summon it. That does not affect the original different dimension cards. As a matter of fact, the original different dimension cards, the one with the periods in their name, have not had their names changed to be Double Ds. To be these cards. In the manga and anime, they went all the way up to Quadruple D, but we honestly don't know what that fourth D stands for. What the Double D here, though, stands for is Different Dimension, and Triple D stands for Different Dimension Daemon. But they were known as Different Dimension Demons in the Japanese version. But it was changed to Daemon in the American version. Or the TCG version, rather. So, that is literally like my so just to clarify, if I say different dimension, I am talking about the D period cards. But if I say Double D or Triple D, I am talking about these cards here. Not sure why they decided to make a second different dimension archetype when they could have just added on to the already existing one, but oh well. But Declan is actually a bit of a dueling prodigy in the Arc 5 series. He has never lost a duel once, and he has mastered Synchro, Fusion, and Xyz summoning in the anime. Even though we're not seeing Xyz monsters in here. But when Yuya opens the door to Pendulum Summoning, the Leo Institute starts developing their own pendulum cards, and he starts experimenting with those and later masters them as well. So he masters all different forms of summoning, similar to what Yuya is doing. But in the manga, he is purely focused on pendulum summoning. As a matter of fact, the only ones who are actually capable of pendulum summoning is Eve and her allies, as well as Declan and Yuya. They are the only ones in the entire manga who actually pendulum summon. No one else does. Level 8. A triple D monster and a double D monster. One tuner and one more non-tuner double D monsters. But let's also cover a bit of Genesis Omega Dragon in the manga's God cards. I say God cards because in the Japanese version, since the manga does follow the literal Japanese translation, I call them God cards because in the Japanese version they actually do call them gods. Oh, that's right. Banish it before it leaves the field. Call them God cards because in the literal Japanese version, they actually do have the word God in their name. But when they were released out to the TCG, damn it. But when they were released out to the TCG, they basically gotten rid of them using the word God and replaced it with something else. The only real... And they follow kind of all the tropes of the God cards across all throughout the rest of the series. There are 3 specific monsters. They're all one of a kind. They're supposed to be these all-powerful, unstoppable God cards. Etc., etc. The only difference is that they are not part of their own archetype. Instead, 2 out of the 3 of them are actually part of an already existing archetype and relies on that for support. A triple D and a double D monster. Double D, double D, double D. But one of the cards is in Declan's possession, the other one is in Yuya's possession, and then the third one is Genesis Omega Dragon itself. All 3 of these cards, the 2 cards more specifically that Declan and Yuya have, respectively, are all drawing the power of Genesis Omega Dragon that Declan and Yuya have full control over. Yuya's God card is All Eyes Phantom Dragon, which is a light attribute level 10 dragon type pendulum effect monster with 3,000 attack points and 2,500 defense points. It has a pendulum scales of 0. Its pendulum effect is once per turn at the end of the damage step. If your dragon pendulum monster attacked an opponent's monster, you can activate this effect. It can attack again in a row. You cannot declare attacks the turn you activate this effect except with that monster. Its monster effect is cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand or face up extra deck by attributing all monsters you control, minimum of 2, including a dragon pendulum monster. You can only special summon All Eyes Phantom Dragon once per turn this way. Once per turn during damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, double this card's current attack points until the end of this turn. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card or effect, quick effect, you can send one spell or trap card you control to the graveyard to negate the activation. So as long as you have back row, you can negate the activation of spell, traps, and effects. But you will have to basically sacrifice your entire front row just to special summon it from your hand or from the extra deck. It is not treated as a Pendulum Summon. But its Pendulum effect allows any of your Dragon Pendulum monsters to attack twice, but you can only attack with just that one monster, and that's it. Declan's God card is Go Triple D Divine Zero Keen Rage, which is a dark attribute, level 10, beam type pendulum effect monster with 0 attack points and 0 defense points, and has a pendulum scale of 0. Its pendulum effect is, if you would take effect damage, you take no damage. If you normal summon a 1 level 5 or higher double D monster, you can do it without tributing. You can only use each pendulum effect of Go Triple D Divine Zero Keen Rage once per turn. Its monster effect is, when this card declares an attack, if your opponent's life points is 4,000 or less, you can make this card gain attack points equal to your opponent's life points until the end of this turn. It cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. You contribute one other monster to apply one of these effects until the end of this turn. 1. This card can attack directly. 2. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in the spell and trap zones. Or 3. Your opponent cannot activate card effects in their hand or graveyard. So, its pendulum effects protects you from effect damage, and it allows you to summon a level 5 or any level 5 or higher double D monster from your hand without having to pay for a tribute. But you can only use each of those effects once per turn. Its whole attack power is entirely based on how many life points your opponent has. And if your opponent has over 4,000, it's not gaining any attack points without the help of other cards. And you can even tribute one of your monsters to either have this card attack directly, to prevent your opponent from activating spell and trap cards, or to prevent your opponent from activating any card effects in their hand or graveyard. So it basically can help limit options. But you are still paying a price. And you take no battle damage from this card. Now let's go on to Genesis Omega Dragon itself. Now, unlike All Eyes Phantom Dragon and Zero Keen Rage, Genesis Omega Dragon to this day has not been, at least as of this recording, which is currently October 26th, 2021, as of recording this, Genesis Omega Dragon only exists in the manga. It does not exist anywhere as an official card. Genesis Omega Dragon is a pendulum effect monster with 0 attack points and 0 defense points and is level 10. We don't really know what its type is, but honestly, I am under the impression it is a dragon type. Its effect is, it gains 1,000 attack points at the start of either player's turn. When this card is targeted for an attack or by a card effect, quick effect, you can place one pendulum monster in your pendulum zone from your hand, deck, or extra deck. Negate that attack or effect, and skip to the end phase of the turn. Once per turn, you can destroy monsters up to the number of cards in your pendulum zones. So it gains 1,000 attack points every time your opponent makes a move. So if they don't get rid of it fast, it's going to become a problem. But every time Genesis Omega Dragon is targeted for an attack or a card effect, you can place a pendulum monster in your empty pendulum zones to negate it, and then move over to the end phase. It's basically like an upgraded negate attack. And the pendulum monster can come from your hand, deck, or extra deck. It does not matter. And also, once per turn, you can destroy one opponent, up to 2 of your opponent's monsters, so long as you have 2 pendulum cards in your pendulum zones. Yeah, Genesis Omega Dragon is a bit rough. Not gonna lie. Now, the effect could change if the effect could change if they do decide to release it as an official card. But as of right now, that is not happening. Another double D swirl slime. That was a Gemini monster. This card attacks your opponent cannot activate any spell or trap cards until the end phase. Sure, let's bring you back. Yeah, sure, let's destroy these both. Okay, that was polymerization, so I really had nothing to worry about. This turn, you can target one faithful spell or trap card on the field. The target has this effect negated. By phase, you can only use this effect of Triple D Cursed King Siegfried once per turn. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, gain 1,000 life points for each dark contract card you control. I should have waited on that. Can I not Pendulum Summon? I guess not. Okay. And monster. Can I Pendulum Summon now? Yes, I can. So go ahead and Pendulum Summon. Now I remember why I couldn't Pendulum Summon. I don't have a Pendulum scale of 1. And speaking of which, as you could probably tell from All Eyes, Phantom Dragon, and Zero Keen Rage, the pendulum scales are not restricted to being anywhere between 1 and 12. The pendulum scales can be anywhere between 0 and 13. But very few cards actually very few cards actually go anywhere between 0 and 13. Anyway, or rather, very few cards go to 0 and 13. I would like another triple D card to do that, though. I need a triple D monster and a double D monster. Monster from your hand in defense position. But I think I'll focus on shutting that down first. There. That's it. Okay. Oh, there's a triple D card. fusion materials, including this card. And I win. Roger decided to use the dimensional transporter to erase the city. You're all going to the void, into the void to disappear forever. Ta-ta, see you never. But Roger's plan backfired, teleporting him instead of the city into the dimensional void. Ah! Are we safe now? We are. Roger won't bother us anymore. So let's win this war and go home. Yuya. What the? Yuya, what's happening now? Not sure, but it looks like the dimensional transporter's rebooting. Ah! 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 What happened? It seems Roger's dimensional transporter malfunctioned and created a wormhole. They were transported to another dimension. Yuya and his friends appeared in an unfamiliar place. What happened? Whoa. Looks like New Domino City got totally blown away. We're not to New Domino City. How do you know? Because this is my home. Or what's left of it. We're in the Xyz Dimension. Yep, and we're about to meet another familiar face in Rush to Revenge. Yuya and the Lancers were teleported to Heartland City in the Xyz Dimension. They soon ran to Kite Tenjo, fighting Obelisk Force. The people of Heartland lived in peace till the day Duel Academy struck. They invaded from the Fusion Dimension without warning, an invasion masterminded by the leader of Duel Academy, the Professor. On the day Heartland City fell, we lost family, friends, everything. But I'll keep fighting to make Duel Academy pay for what they did to my home. Ah! I can't believe you turned them into cards. They got what they deserved. They're from Duel Academy, my sworn enemies. But not even my worst enemy deserves anything so awful. Imagine being trapped inside a card. That's horrible. I don't know who you are and I don't care. I'm getting rid of you all right here, right now. Kite Tenjo is one of the best, if not the best, in all of Heartland. But he's acting differently than before. The Kite I knew always had a smile on his face. Now all I sense is rage. A rage so intense that it's consumed him completely. If you dare oppose me, you must be from Duel Academy. No, I swear I'm not. Yuya, listen to me. In your duel with Jack Atlas, you were able to really get through to him. But you must realize that's because you both were working toward the same objective. The same objective? Yes, you both wanted peace to prevail in New Domino City. But Kite is so angry that he's not fighting for peace. He's fighting for revenge. It's impossible to get through to him. Remember what you said. Use your power to keep the world entertained and smiling. And that's exactly what I intend to do. Yuto, just sit back and enjoy the show. Let's duel. Kite Tenjo is not using the Photon Dragon archetype. He's not using Photon cards. He is using the Cipher archetype in the Arc 5 version. Which means he also has, I believe, 2 new Galaxy Eyes monsters. In this. And again, there is no mention of his brother in this. There is no Yuma, there is no Astral, there is no Shark, there's no Baryons or anything like that. This is a completely different Kite from the Zexal stories. So the Arc 5 Kite's Ace Monster is Galaxy Eyes Cipher Dragon, which is a light attribute, rank 8 Dragon-type Xyz effect monster with 3,000 attack points and 2,500 defense points. Requires 2 level 8 monsters to Xyz Summon. Once per turn, you can detach 1 overlay unit from this card, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Monsters you control cannot attack your opponent directly for the rest of this turn, except this card. Also, take control of the targeted monster until the end phase. But while this effect is applied, it has its effects negated. Its attack becomes 3,000. Also, its name becomes Galaxy Eyes Cipher Dragon. So it can steal your opponent's monsters to beef up its own, to beef up your side of the field, but to also completely bypass any sort of obstacles in your way. But only Galaxy Eyes Cipher Dragons can attack directly at that point when you use that effect. His other Galaxy Eyes monster is Neo Galaxy Eyes Cipher Dragon, which is a light attribute rank 9 Dragon-type Xyz effect monster with 4,500 attack points and 3,000 defense points. Requires 3 level 9 monsters to Xyz Summon. If this card has a Cipher card as an overlay unit, it gains its effect. Once per turn, you can detach up to 3 overlay units from this card. Monsters you control cannot attack your opponent directly for the rest of this turn, except this card. Also, for each material detached, each overlay unit detached, take control of one opponent's face-up monsters until the end phase. But while this effect is applied, they have their effects negated. Their attacks become 4,500. Also, their names becomes Neo Galaxy Eyes Cipher Dragon. So very similar effect to the original Galaxy Eyes. What's this one? Dragon Caller Magician. Once per turn, you can make this card become Dragon type until the end of this turn. A monster that was Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. If this card battles a Dragon type monster, this card's attack becomes double its original attack during the damage step only. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field. It becomes Dragon type until the end of your opponent's turn, even if this card leaves the field. Let's go for the tried and true duo. Oh, actually, I didn't even need to get Time Gazer. I did not realize that. Oops. And I didn't even check this. So we have Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon, Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, Nirvana High Paladin, Enlightenment Paladin, and Rune Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Let's set you for now. And see what we're dealing with. Cipher Wing. And that's it. I don't really want you, but I'll bring out... I'll bring out you two and I'll normal summon the other. If you do, destroy that card. So why were they sent to the extra deck? Okay. I need a defense right now. Yep, being a bit of a pain, are we? Let's bring you out only. Just in case he has another one of those trap cards, and I'll normal summon Dromarilla. No. Monster you control and an opponent's monster, you can target that monster you control. It gains 600 attack points at the end of the battle phase. Sure, more damage. Another pendulum call. Oh, I could have Pendulum Summoned. Swordsman of Revealing Light. If opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then it discards its defense is higher than the attacking monster's attack, destroy that attacking monster. Summoned using this card on the field has Xyz material as overlay units gains this effect. Each turn, the first time this card will be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed. I can just bring it back. Damn, he saw right through it. Jonkei Magician. Let's see. He's using nothing but light monsters. Okay, and you don't have any effects that would really matter right now. Mr. Marillus. Yep, once per turn. Tuning Magician. If you have 2 Magician cards in your Pendulum Zone while this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can special summon this card, but banish him when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of Tuning Magician once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, your opponent gains 400 life points and you take 400 damage, which isn't even all that big of a price to be in all fairness. Nope. Too late. Yeah, Yuya got Tuning Magician from from the bellboy who was... Wait, which effect are we talking? Oh, Tuning Magician. Oh right, you can special summon it from the graveyard, but it has to be banished when it leaves the field. And sure, let's Pendulum Summon them both. He got Tuning Magician from a bellboy who was, you know, servicing him at the hotel room that he was staying at during the Friendship Cup. And the bellboy got Tuning Magician from... I need another level 1, but I don't have a level 1. the bellboy got Tuning Magician from Jack, who used that card to become the champ. Stop the duel. Yuya's our friend. Is that? It's Shay. So then, they aren't the enemy? No. They fight for what we fight for. To put a stop to Duel Academy's destructive ways. How do you know this to be true, Shay? Because Yuya Sakaki saved my skin more times than I can count. And we can sure use your help, Kite. I'm much better being off on my own. Kite. He's gone. That's the Kite we know. So in the next episode, we will be seeing yet another familiar face in Rise of the Resistance. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye.